So we're going to plant 51 trees. All of them are native trees. A lot of them are oaks. Oaks are very, very important for our environment. They support over 550 species, and that includes mammals, birds, and insects. Really important insects that uses this tree are butterflies and moths. And you think, well, those are wildflowers, right? Well, no, the butterflies and moths lay their eggs in trees, and they hatch there, and the caterpillars start out in trees. So if we don't have trees, we don't have butterflies, okay? And we don't have moths. And if we don't have caterpillars, we don't have birds. Chickadees 100% feed their chicks caterpillars, nothing else. 5,000 to 9,000 caterpillars to raise one brood of chickadees. That's what it takes. And where they're going to get them from? Oaks. So we have to plant oaks if we're going to still have birds. We have lost 3 billion birds in the last 50 years. Think about that for a minute. 3 billion birds. And why is that happening? We all are concerned about global warming, right? But the other things that are happening with that global warming is that changes the whole atmosphere and the whole environment for the birds. And birds can only live in certain temperatures and with certain foods. So for instance, we track bluebirds because we're the Virginia Bluebird Society folks, and along with that comes the tree swallows. Well, tree swallows used to come in May, and now they're coming in the middle of May. Now they're coming the 1st of May. And they get here, and guess what? There's not enough insects in the air because it's still too cold. And so their whole species is starting to collapse. So what we're going to do is we're going to do our little part today, and then you're going to go home and you're going to tell your folks around your neighborhood, we need to plant more trees. Grass does nothing for us except we mow it. Nothing feeds on grass. It might as well be cement. So we need to stop thinking about grass as something that gets our whole yard. And the other thing I'm going to talk about right now is leaves. And we have a new thing, leave the leaves. Don't pick them up, because guess what? Where all those caterpillar eggs are for next spring, they're in the leaves. And if you put them in a bag and send them to the landfill, that's where we're going to have problems. We need to leave the leaves. All of the little critters that are in your yard, they hide in those leaves. So let's see if we can get folks to stop. We just talked to the landscape crews here, and they just told us they pick up every leaf here and throw it in the woods. We said all you have to do is mow it, and it'll chop up and it'll feed the grass or the weeds, whatever these are here. But the main thing is we need to stop doing all the weird stuff we've been doing so everything is nice and neat. We have to start thinking about the rest of the environment.
Trees, what you see sticking out of the ground is 1/3 of the plant. 2/3 is under the ground. The 2/3 that's under the ground is interacting with in the rhizosphere with mycorrhizae. 85% of the plants on this planet interact with that mycorrhizae in that rhizosphere. They are exchanging carbon for water and nutrients. They are sequestering carbon in the trunks themselves. They're pulling the carbon that we're making from burning engines into the tree trunks, and they're holding them in there. They are sharing the carbon in getting the carbon into the life cycle of the planet. There's from the very bottom, from all of our decomposers all the way up to our top predators. They're all involved. That's my favorite shape. I like this one a lot, but this is my favorite, a circle, because the circle is everything's going through the circle. All the parts of the circle are important. If we break the circle, like Ann was talking about, where we're having plants in decline, if we're having birds in decline, the circle is being interrupted. And when the circle gets really interrupted, we all will have a negative impact from that. We don't want to have that, so we're here to do our parts to help the trees. Water is a huge thing. You guys remember, if you remember recently, we had Ian go through. Ian gave us a lot of water. A lot of it soaked in because it was a nice, easy rain. But when we get those heavy-duty rains, these trees help absorb some of that water. They hold it in. They hold it in the soil. They keep it from running off. A lot of our soils are washing away. The more we lose soil, the bigger problems we're creating. And also touched on the leaves being host to all of the bug eggs. It goes against a lot of our thinking to not clean up, but it's if we can do that, it really is beneficial. Mulching everything is great. Putting it back into the ground. Some of the when we're grinding the trees up to putting them around the trees that we've had to cut down to put the bark around the trees, we're adding nutrients back to the soil, because what we're doing is all the nutrients that are in here, again, a circle, the nutrients that are in the soil go up into this tree, they go into the leaves and into the stems. As they fall off and land back on the ground, they break down and go back into the soil. It's just a circle. It keeps rotating, going around and around and around. Nothing's gained, nothing's lost. It just changes position. Trees are beneficial.